hold back.
Now, tell me exactly what it is you're afraid of.
I keep having the same dream. Everywhere I look, people are being replaced.
Okay, and who do you think is going to have you replaced?
Them. The puppet masters. The last time I had the dream, I was walking down the school hallway. And then I see Butters, and he's like, "Hey, Eric, you want to see what my mom packed me for lunch?" And that's when I start to notice that something's wrong. Everyone I cared about has been systematically replaced. And finally, I want to scream, and I'm like, why are they replacing every single character with someone who is diverse? But then Kenny's like, it's not our fault, it's because of Kathleen Kennedy. But then Kathleen Kennedy says like, fuck it, make it more lame. And everyone in town is like, no, please, Kathleen Kennedy, stop ruining everything. But Kathleen Kennedy is all like, put another gay diverse woman in it, make it more fucking lame. And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down. And then Bob Iger is all like, no, what's going on with my stocks? No, Kathleen Kennedy. Ah!
South Park is back, and they're not pulling any punches. In their latest episode, they take direct aim at Disney, mocking the company's fixation on race and gender swaps. Turning Disney's so-called woke checklist into comedy gold, they call out the drastic changes to classics like Snow White, changes that seem to leave fans more baffled than impressed. But is Disney truly embracing diversity, or just checking boxes? South Park is saying out loud what many people have been thinking.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There is a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no Prince or a different kind of Prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie, right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. It's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows?
South Park didn't just take a jab. They went all in. Their latest episode, Joining the Panderverse, comes out swinging at Disney's so-called woke culture, making one thing clear: forcing diversity without creativity is a recipe for disaster. And the timing? Absolutely spot on. The episode drops just as Disney's Snow White remake, starring Rachel Zegler, is already drowning in controversy. Zegler only added fuel to the fire with her comments, slamming the original 1937 Snow White as a story about a guy who literally stalks her. She called it weird and insisted the new version would ditch romance because, according to her, we've evolved. But despite that claim, the film still features a male co-star, Andrew Burnap, something fans weren't exactly buying. South Park saw the mess unfold and decided to double down, delivering their own brutal take on the situation.
Eric, it's okay. It's okay.
Not. I had a dream that I was replaced by a diverse woman.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, only this time, it wasn't just me. They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the patriarchy. Will you check under the bed and make sure there's no Disney executives under there?
I promise there's not.
I'm scared, Mom. Will you please just look and make sure Kathleen Kennedy isn't under...
In Joining the Panderverse, Eric Cartman has a nightmare. One where all his favorite characters have been replaced by diverse women who won't stop complaining about the patriarchy. He wakes up in a panic, ranting, "They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the patriarchy." It's classic South Park, making it clear that this isn't progress, it's pandering. And for many fans frustrated with Disney's recent projects, the episode hits the nail on the head. Then comes the real gut punch. Cartman quips, and the Disney stock just keeps going down and down.
Ouch.
That one stings harder than a Bob Iger quarterly report. But South Park doesn't stop there. The episode goes full savage, roasting Kathleen Kennedy and her role at Lucasfilm, with Cartman bluntly blaming her for why all the Disney movies suck now. The show takes it even further, mocking Disney executives as they desperately try to pander harder using a mystical pander stone. It's a direct jab at Disney's habit of recycling old stories with shallow, surface-level changes. Meanwhile, Kennedy's character keeps repeating the same directive: put a chick in it and make her lame and gay. It's brutal, but it perfectly captures how many fans feel about Disney's recent attempts to modernize their franchises.
Is there a problem, people?
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Prince Eric movie.
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
maybe we should go a different route than we did with Indiana Jones.
Fuck Indiana Jones! Put a chicken in and make her name it gay!
Sure, yeah. Well, let's try that. Again.
Kathleen Kennedy is down on set right now ruining the new Bambi movie.
Any diverse woman in it, make it gay!
Bambi's a baby deer.
Fuck baby dear, put a chicken in, make her gay!
We've sent her away to have lunch at Spago. There you are, Miss Kennedy, the linguine and clam sauce.
Excuse me, I believe I asked you to put a chicken in this and make her gay.
Yes, the chef was a little confused what you meant by that.
Means put a chicken in the linguine and make her fucking gay! And I want it lame! Where the fuck is Bob Iger?
Sir Iger just had to take some of the others to a screening.
I think that things are being kept from me. And if you're going to keep things from me, then you'd better put a chicken in and fucking gay as fuck.
And don't think Miles Morales got left out of the conversation. In one hilarious exchange, when someone accuses Cartman of hating diverse characters, the kids fire back, "No, Miles Morales is sweet." That's a whole constructed thing with its own character and narrative. This is just taking the same old Cartman and putting a black woman in it. Boom. That's the point South Park is making. Diversity is great, but lazy. Forced storytelling isn't. The episode also takes shots at Disney's biggest flops, including Indiana Jones and The Dial of Destiny. Even though Harrison Ford wasn't technically replaced by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, South Park taps into the frustration of audiences who feel Disney keeps adding diversity for the sake of it. Fans aren't against new characters, they just want good stories. And as always, South Park characters say what a lot of people are already thinking. The internet ate it up. Elon Musk chimed in with 2 laughing emojis, calling the episode timely. Meanwhile, Gina Carano, famously fired from The Mandalorian over controversial tweets, used the moment to take another swing at Disney. In a long-winded rant on X, formerly Twitter, she mockingly imagined Kathleen Kennedy scrambling to censor South Park while gathering a mob to label the creators racist bigots and transphobes. Yeah, South Park definitely struck a nerve. But what really stands out is that they don't just roast Disney, they also take shots at the anti-woke crowd. Toward the end of the episode, Kennedy's character admits that using the Panderstone to fight bigotry through lazy remakes was a terrible idea. "All I ever wanted was to make great entertainment," she says. But after drowning in hate mail and being labeled the C-word, she lost her way. Even Cartman has a moment of self-awareness, admitting, "I'm sorry I wrote all those letters." I guess just railing on woke stuff all the time is pretty lazy too. At its core, South Park delivers a clear message. Real representation isn't about swapping faces or identities. It takes actual creativity and effort. Disney's execs and their loudest critics are both guilty of taking the easy way out. With joining the Panderverse, South Park makes a bold statement, calling out Hollywood's obsession with shallow representation while also mocking those who attack diversity just for the sake of it. The result? A brutally honest, gut punch of an episode that adds fuel to the culture war in the most South Park way possible.
You've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
Disney's live-action Snow White remake has become the latest battleground in Hollywood's ongoing culture war. What was once a beloved fairy tale has turned into a controversy magnet, thanks to the studio's attempts to modernize the story, and the backlash has been relentless. The trouble began when Rachel Zegler, who plays Snow White, shared her blunt opinions on the original 1937 film. She dismissed it as outdated, saying, "The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. Zegler made it clear the new version would take a different approach, prioritizing Snow White's independence and leadership over romance. "We didn't do that this time," she said, referring to the prince's role. While Andrew Burnap was cast as a new male character, she emphasized, "It's not a love story." Instead of generating excitement, Zegler's remarks sparked a firestorm. Fans and critics accused Disney of fixing what wasn't broken and injecting modern ideologies into a classic. Social media exploded, with memes, posts, and debates flooding platforms like X, formerly Twitter. Many argued Disney was more focused on pushing an agenda than telling a great story. Zegler's own experience with Snow White added fuel to the fire. "I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and never picked it up again," she admitted. She shared that her favorite Disney princess was actually Ariel from The Little Mermaid, saying the film inspired her love for swimming. Her comments, meant to be personal reflections, instead reinforced the perception that she had little appreciation for the legacy of the story she was now leading. The controversy highlights a growing frustration with Disney's approach to live-action remakes. While The Little Mermaid, starring Halle Bailey, faced backlash, it was mostly centered around casting. However, Bailey won over many fans by embracing the role with grace and celebrating representation. In contrast, Zegler's dismissive tone alienated audiences, making her the center of criticism rather than the film itself. Enter South Park. Never one to miss an opportunity for satire, the show mocked Disney's approach in its episode Joining the Panderverse. The storyline takes aim at remakes like Snow White, portraying a world where every film is rewritten to fit modern social narratives. The episode suggests that audiences don't mind diversity, but they do mind when it feels forced or inauthentic. One of the biggest triggers in the Snow White debate was Zegler's comment about the prince being a stalker. To many, it wasn't just a fresh take. It felt like she was tearing down a beloved classic. Fans argued that the original Snow White was a product of its time, and that remakes should honor the past while introducing new elements, not completely dismantle the story. Disney's recent remakes have followed a pattern, updated for modern audiences, but often criticized for lacking the magic of the originals. From The Lion King to The Little Mermaid, some have been praised for their diverse casting, while others have been slammed for feeling soulless. South Park captured this sentiment perfectly, with a fictional version of Disney CEO Bob Iger telling his team, "Just pander harder." The joke hits on a real frustration. Many believe the studio is more concerned with checking boxes than making meaningful entertainment. Zegler herself has become a lightning rod in this debate. Social media has been flooded with comments calling her arrogant and tone-deaf. Some feel she's more interested in condemning the original than celebrating her role, while others question if she was even the right choice for Snow White. The backlash is more than just about her. It's about how Disney is handling its legacy. This controversy reflects a deeper challenge for Disney: how to modernize classics without alienating longtime fans. With Snow White, it seems the studio missed the mark. Instead of finding a balance between old and new, they risked erasing what made the original special. South Park doesn't just mock the Snow White fiasco, it critiques Hollywood's broader shift. The episode asks a crucial question: what happens when storytelling takes a backseat to messaging? More importantly, what does it mean when audiences stop trusting a studio's creative intent? Disney's struggle with Snow White is part of a larger cultural divide, one between progressive updates and nostalgic storytelling. The debate isn't about diversity or progress, it's about authenticity. Fans want stories that feel genuine, not ones that seem manufactured to fit an agenda. Ultimately, Snow White is just another chapter in Disney's ongoing battle with remakes and reboots. But with growing backlash and sharp criticism from shows like South Park, the message is clear. Audiences are losing patience. The real question now is, will Disney listen? Or will they double down, convinced that pandering harder is the only way forward? Because at the end of the day, people just want to be entertained, without feeling like they're being lectured. If Disney wants to keep its audience, it needs to figure out how to balance progress with the timeless magic that made these stories beloved in the first place.